on stage here, 5280 Geek, and the Colorado Festival of Horror. The
Colorado
Hoes.
Festival of Ho.
Whole lot of ho going on.
Whole lot of ho. Ho, ho, ho.
I am graced and in awe of Carolyn Williams.
God.
Right here. We have had some adventures, so
I'm
for
not
the
fucking
entire
Betty
week.
Davis.
Yeah, you're prettier than Betty Davis. I'm sorry. Betty Davis is a little used up, and just kind of,
She's really used up now, dude. In fucking France. She's in like a box.
Yeah, they
somewhere.
got. She's like in one of those big cases they put the Pope in, and the people just come in and just like, oh,
Look through the little window.
Yeah.
They covered her head in wax. She's got a cigarette in her mouth.
Yeah, I mean, you can still see the nicotine stain that's like on the bone. It's like, oh, that went right through. Oh, man. You kidding me? So this has been an incredible week. You came in Thursday night and surprised us.
I did.
And you came to the Alamo. We watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And those are your boys. And you got misty. You had a little piece of sediment, like sentimental coming out of the eye there, and it was so wonderful.
Well, but I mean, it is. And now I'm doing it again.
See?
I'm doing
First, I
again.
get you laughing, and then I bring you to tears.
A movie can change your life. And that movie changed my life. It set up the rest of my life. It set up this film, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which I am known for. That's, it doesn't matter what else I'm going to do ever. Because
Right.
I will be Stretch, and there she will be sitting the tombstone, legs apart, with like a head.
I
And a
mean,
saw.
I can't think of any better position. I mean, just
Well, it is a fun position because for me, when I was thinking about styling the photos, because I am like that,
Right.
I'm a bossy babe. I thought to myself, one of the key, most important moments in the movie is I'm in that tub of ice, and the saw is traveling up my leg. That's the money shot, dude. That's it. That's where that's the wad. That's where it is.
go
Sorry.
for daylight.
I'm just saying. And I thought, you know what? We need to let that be kind of a signature hook
Right.
in the photo op, because it's mostly men who do these things. It's not saying women don't like it, they do. Men, it's 18 to 54. It's men 18 to 54. So, yeah. And it's a big laugh, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, it's fun that you're able to work within that, because I have interviewed celebrities, and some of them take, I'm the serious actor, and they take themselves too seriously. And given the horror genre, you never know which way it's going to go, because they're the ones that are very, very dedicated to the craft and this. But you have fun with it, you interact with the fans, and you've been absolutely glorious this entire weekend.
Thank you.
What's your big takeaway from this weekend? Because I know besides the fact of the photo ops, and it'll be on the website, trust me, my photo op was brilliant.
Instagram, Twitter, X, Facebook, which I am not on, but hit all of those puppies, dude.
Yeah, it's going to do the. I mean, it may be my new profile picture for a while. Just saying.
It should.
It's
it
that
looked like I was
good.
giving birth to you, dude.
It's just like
It
no.
looked like I was like, push.
Oh my God! Look at the coconut on that kid. Ah. So it's been fun, and besides the Alamo, what's your big hit for this weekend?
I mean, this is the way I see it. Just overall, number one, the fact that convention life has been so incredible, specifically to horror. You're not going to see fucking Harrison Ford at one of these things.
No.
No. And you're not going to see a lot of the major box office stars doing shit like this. Because I feel like within horror, since the 50s, since the Universal Monsters, the genre has had such an extraordinary roller coaster ride of development.
Mm-hmm.
From the nihilism and gore of Rob Zombie to Terrifier to you've got these extraordinary filmmakers who make their initial bones in horror, by the way.
Right.
Okay, talking about the very serious, I'm a serious actor. And yes, I'm a serious actor too. I can act opposite, in my estimation, and I might be a little overconfident, I can act opposite anybody. And I can hold my own, and I can put on a good fucking show.
And you absolutely have done that with like a lot of your films there from one end to the other. I mean, your most recent one was Renfield, which it was so nice to just kind of see you, just kind of peek in there.
But I wasn't. I actually
sure
had a big bark and dog roll.
I bet you did.
I was the poodle bugging the fuck out of Aquafina. And I had some wonderful, I know, and Ben Schwartz. And, I had a great time and I did good work. And Chris McKay, a prince of a man, by the way, who's the director of the film, called me on the phone and said, do you want to come over to the office, which is like 10 minutes from my house in Burbank? He said, the producers did a cut. And
Never a good way to start a sentence.
It is. It's like go tie off in the bathroom. Bring me
Walk
the dime
towards the
bag.
light, Carolyn.
Oh, I'm coming, mommy. They're after me. Yeah, I mean, it's deeply disappointing. But the guy had enough class to bring me in, let me see what my scene was. It was even smaller once I went to the movie theater. It's like they, it's Universal Studios. Who am I to say?
I mean, the film is, even though we don't get much of you in it, the film is great itself.
The film is
whole
great itself.
contrast.
But my gripe with the film is they overemphasized Nicholas Hoult and Awkwafina being a potential romance. No.
Yeah, that didn't. Yeah.
Anyway, and did not give us enough Nicolas Cage being fucking Dracula.
Right.
When you have Nicolas Cage being Dracula, what do?
You let him be Dracula.
Oh, yes, you do.
The whole opening tribute, though, to Nosferatu and how they captured that pretty much almost scene by scene and how that whole opening sequence laid out was, that is just brilliant and beautiful.
I did see other footage that had been cut. And Chris was kind enough to let me see some of this stuff.
Ooh.
And it was just heaven on celluloid. I thought I hope it shows up, in the
director's cut type of thing.
Yes.
Well, you may live on in, video release.
I think they've already got it out.
Yeah.
They rushed this shit out. Just quick like an E-train, and it just, so there.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I love acting. I love being an actor. These days, I try to choose the things that I do, and I'm not being a snob. It's just if something is not appealing to me, and if somebody doesn't have any money to pay me, I'm not doing it. So
you just show up and just give it your all and just say okay, well thanks.
There's a lot of bad shit out there. And viewer, it's all over the map. Viewers seem to love a big cross, section of work. It's just, this is it. I'm 66 years old. I got to make this work for the rest of my life, which is going to go by pretty fucking fast.
I think Ferris Bueller had a quote about that.
Yes, he did.
So, and I got suckered, and I got to say this because I was just like, I'm a huge 13 Ghosts fan, and on your table you have these glorious pictures, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, really, you're the princess, and I had to go back because I'm just kind of screening through, but the story behind how you end up with the picture looking like the princess from the 13 Ghosts is tremendous, and we were talking about it over there, and I think these people would love to hear how you ended up becoming the princess and not in the movie. You look better than the actress that played her.
I don't know. I loved her.
She did do it. I'm so sad we never got the story behind the ghosts, because I know that was always a rumor and all of that, but we never went down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. The reason I ended up doing that photo shoot is my dear friend Jeremy Saffer, who is one of the world's most famous rock and metal photographers. He has photographed every single star that there is to photograph. When I was thinking I've got to reboot my career, what do we do? Jeremy had shot some candids of me at a con in Boston. And he said, let's do some stuff. Let's play. Let's have a good time. So I got my dear friend Greg Leitner, who's extraordinary. And we decided, Jeremy's been putting together a corpse paint book, which is now out, Daughters of Darkness. It's an extraordinary book. Corpse paint is very specific. It is full body generally, and it is totally nude. You cannot wear a little thong or a little bikini or anything.
So you're just walking around Starkers.
Just, baby, it was everywhere, all over the frickin' place. Had to do tucking, had to do some tucking.
So, I mean, it takes a certain level of confidence because, I mean, the shoot is...
Which I did not have. The thing is the amount of work and the breadth of possibilities, and I have my clothes on in some of the photos that I've done with Jeremy. It's just, we've kind of refined it down to what we know people will likely want. The Daughters of Darkness coffee table books I can't bring with me on trips because they're huge and heavy, and it's not to be done. But it was February, probably nearly 7 years ago. No, 2017. 2017.
Okay. So, right, fairly recent.
Fairly recent. And Jeremy said, if you want to reboot your career, women your age are not getting naked. Women your age got naked a long time ago. They were in their 20s when they were starting their horror careers.
Right.
But you've never done it. So why not?
Why? Embrace the naked.
So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it just for shock value. So people will go, oh. And half the people will think it's great, and half the people will go, ew. But
where did you end up on that scale, though? I mean, was it liberating? Are you like, I'll do it again?
There's a shot of me, and my hair was still brown.
Yeah.
I hadn't gone blonde then. There's a shot of me where I'm holding the saw.
Right.
Yeah.
Strategically.
And it's a big ass saw, and it's sticking up into the air, and I am wearing cowboy boots.
Save a horse.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Sorry, really bad joke on that one.
It's funny.
That was easy. Sorry.
But it's funny.
Should have said no. The career that you have had, are you better as a victim or a killer?
I don't think I'm either or. I think my characters mostly have existed in that weird little nether world. Where is this going to go?
Right. Which was the one that you're the radio talk show host or on there?
Chainsaw 2, silly boy.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, you don't know where that's going to go. Because in that film, number one, we had no rating when we were released. We were NC-17. And it wasn't because, and I'm not naked, I'm wearing clothes. But I'm sitting in the tub of ice and the thing and the
Right.
Yeah. So because of that shot, the MPAA would not give us a rating.
Well, I mean, I think it also carries the stigma with Texas Chainsaw, because, I mean, the first one outlawed in I don't know how many different states. They just got it in Germany like 5-6 years ago.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, the story arc for the film itself is amazing. So when you're doing these cons, and I know there's the theorists, the conspiracy theorists, oh, I know the guy that's still running in them hills, Do you get that when you're doing, cons, or you get like the over-enthusiastic fan?
Well, I mean, it's not so much the over-enthusiastic fan, because people are very respectful and they're very nice, and they're into the whole thing. They know what everything's about. But I mean, when you watch those true crime shows,
yeah. I honestly think true crime is now happening because of Texas Chainsaw.
It is the new horror porn. It is horror porn, man. And they used to pixelate out the dead bodies that were laying in the crime scene photos.
No, now they're just like, please avert your eyes or take the children out of the room. We're going to show you this whole thing.
It is so, man. So it's like, I just feel like, they're almost taking the lead. And Terrifier, it was, okay, so here's a Terrifier thing.
Okay.
So here's Terrifier.
I mean, that's as iconic scene from the first one, if you haven't watched it, spoilers, but the cut him, in half.
My beloved Catherine Corcoran.
Yes.
She did a movie with one of my beloved directors, Eric Bloomquist, who directed me in 10 Minutes to Midnight. She was in a movie called Long Lost, and remarkable actress. Nobody's going to say she doesn't have chops, but chops.
Chops.
Chops. It's just, everything is so, that scene in Terrifier 2, where Art is sitting on the bed and the woman appears to be dead and she's she looks like one of the crime scene photos from Whitechapel back in the,
The British release with David Tennant?
No, with Jack the Ripper.
Oh,
Have you seen those crime scene photos?
And actually, when I interviewed...
Spaghetti sauce. And that's what that woman in 2 was in that bed. And that freaked me out, man.
Yeah, because talking to Damien a couple years ago, last year? It's gone by in a blast.
I know.
Just, Damien is like they deconstructed, they see the final thing and like, okay, so how do we get to that? So he steps it backwards from the finished product. That's how we got to that.
He's the new Savini. He really is.
He has got, I'm very curious what Terrifier 3 is going to be.
And I love my Tom. And Tom, let's face it, he was like the Benjamin Franklin of special effects.
So much.
Him with so many of those guys back in the early 80s, late 70s. They hung the key on the cape.
They did.
They did.
Well, and speaking of independent films, you're actually in a film we had here last year, Blind, with Sarah French.
Yes.
And we had the whole crew here.
Sure.
So how is it on Pretty Boy? And how is it working on that and doing independent film in general?
Indies get very dodgy. And because there's so little money, every single shot has to count. Now, if it's
Talk
digital,
about money shot, right?
Yeah, if it's digital, that's great because you really do. It gives you broad latitude. And the movie in indie film that I would really go to, that's even indier than Blind, is called Cuddly Toys. And the young director, Kansas Bowling, is this gorgeous young girl that I met on a Sharknado 4 red carpet. But she has done this movie, Cuddly Toys. I knew I was in the right place when I walk onto the set, and she is shoulders up in a Duvetine bag, loading 16mm film into mags.
Holy crap.
She does not shoot digital, she shoots film. So if something fucks up, it's fucked up.
So she's a real purist like Tarantino, Scorsese.
Tarantino's her mentor.
Yes.
She and her sister, Parker Love Bowling, played twins in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And her film bona fides, I meet this girl at her 21st birthday, and we talked about film into the night, and she is Warhol. And yet trying to get money because of the way she shoots on film, not digital. Getting those financial commitments is nearly impossible. And I mean, if you've seen my resume, if you go on IMDb, I've got a very long resume. Some of the films are good, some of the films are bad. You're rolling the dice a little bit with indie film.
Sharknado 4.
All the way to 10, my son.
Oh my God.
All the way to 10.
Was it fun on that? I mean, I stopped at 1. I'm sorry. I just like, no, this is just ridiculous.
Dude, I have a home at the asylum. I love those people. They are staunchly indie. They don't let anybody intimidate them or try to shut down their shoots. They continue on. I currently have a movie called Megalodon, The Frenzy.
Yeah, I saw that.
Where I am the chief scientist. And the thing is, the asylum is such absolute absurdity. It is so absurd that you can't not like it. They're so bad, they're good. And I've done 4 films, I think, for the asylum.
Yeah.
But they've given me a very nice home, and they give me a nice paycheck. So
Hey, as long as the check's clear.
And the Sharknado guy is Anthony C. Ferrante, and he truly is a very gifted director.
I mean, it is a very creative film. I mean, it just got past the point. I mean, even like
It gets stupid. I understand.
Death Proof is like almost more realistic than some of the Sharknado stuff. So you're just like, oh my god.
Exactly.
But dealing in that world, I mean, do you want to do more slasher, more gruesome, or more horror comedy? Or, I mean, where do you want to like kind of direct your reawakening and your rebranding?
I like good films, and that's all I like. And for me, it starts with the words. It starts with the writing. It starts with what's written. And if the writer comes up with a great story that goes in directions you don't expect, that's where I want to be. That's where I want to go. Unfortunately, most of the time, you're not going to find that.
Has there been one that has done that to you, where you're reading it and you're like, oh, good Lord?
Well, I mean, I'm partial to 10 Minutes to Midnight. A bunch of us watched it last night, and it's a weird movie, but I could hear the audience appreciating the strange diversions and the strange directions that the story took. And I also got to be the lead. And women my age in horror can play leads.
Absolutely.
You can absolutely do that. And, it gives me a credibility that I would not have out in the standard film world, where I have to compete against really big names.
Well, and do you think working within the horror genre, it's helped cultivate and grow to other opportunities you didn't expect?
It definitely gives you job security, number one. And a lot of that comes from the conventions. Because more than any other style of film, we're accountable directly to our fans.
They are much closer, because let's face it, if you went to a fan expo, the photo op, they just boom, 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 like,
And Comic-Con and shit like that, you're not going to have a conversation with anybody.
No.
But when you're at a con like this, and somebody says, I don't like the Rob Zombie films, and they're sophisticated. Many people here want to be filmmakers. They're writers, they're composers, sculptors, actors, you name it. And they have a fairly sophisticated view of what happens when you're trying to make a movie.
Some of them are very diabolical and very calculating. It's impressive when you're sitting there talking to someone across the table who's in a hoodie and sweatpants and delivers like this opal in knowledge.
Right. Well, I mean, I love our genre. I feel very lucky to be situated where I am at this point in time. And, I don't think I can really ask for much more. I mean, even with the strike going on, people are still lining up their films.
Yeah, and I mean, I know Neil Gaiman didn't stop writing just because of the strike. So
Heck no.
Everybody's just packing stuff in.
Yeah.
When you're watching a film like 10 Minutes to Midnight amongst the fans or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, what's that experience like for you?
Well, I feel self-conscious on the one hand, because I want them to like it.
Of course.
And then on the other hand, it's one of the most comfortable places to be. Because if any group of people are going to get what it is they're watching, it's going to be a horror film group.
Right. All right. Can you talk about what's coming up for you? You can't. It's fine.
Not really.
Okay.
I do have more cons. I'm going to be
what's the next stop on the bus?
Next stop is Sioux Falls. It's either Sioux Falls or Sioux City. It's a Sioux.
That town shuts down at like 8 or 9 o'clock. What are you going to do with the rest of your time?
I've never even been there. I'm going to eat bacon.
Well, there's always room for bacon.
Always. And once I'm done with Sioux Falls, I go to New York for a little thing. And then I'm going to have Monsterpalooza in LA.
Monsterpalooza's huge.
Huge, and Bill Moseley will be there with me, and Sam Raimi will be there. And so that's going to be fun. And then right after that, I go to Lake Jackson, Texas with Alan Danziger,
nice.
Who we love.
Who has been absolutely adorable this weekend.
He's so sweet. He's lovely.
Who has been the most fun for you to work with? I mean, you've had such a beautiful career. I mean, who stands out? You're like, God, if I could only work with this person again.
Gosh. It's less about working with somebody again and more, who can I work with that I haven't worked with?
Really? Who do you want to work with?
I would love to work with James Duval. I would love to work with Catherine Corcoran, my adored Catherine Corcoran. I would like to work with Kevin Bacon. There goes Bacon again.
There goes Bacon again. Again, always room for Bacon. But yeah, Kevin is just so fun watching him and his wife do farm stuff.
They don't run away from stuff.
No, they don't.
They're not embarrassed. They
No.
dig.
They do. Kira Sedgwick and
Friday.
him just like, doing their thing. They
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah, they're
At all.
totally great.
Yes.
There are so many actors within our genre, really good actors, and those are the ones I'm scouting for.
All right. We do have people. Would you want to take questions from them? Or we can just keep bullshitting, but I mean,
If somebody wants to ask
there's
something, they
somebody
can,
out
and-
there in the seas of thousands and millions at home watching this. Would you like to know what Carolyn is thinking right now? Anyone
That's a
have
good German accent,
Thank you. I
dude.
tried. I was doing Udo the other day, and that is the stupidest question. Why? No, next question, please. I don't want to ask that. You tie me with these
God, if
boring
I could work
questions.
opposite Schwarzenegger.
I'd love watching, talk about someone that on their Twitter and like landscape
Whoa.
stuff that they got going on. He has burros that come into it, like like horses coming into his house to get fed by him and all
What
of that.
happens when that animal takes a shit?
Exactly, right?
Then what do?
You call
That's clean up all day.
You call the agent. Hey, get rid of this shit.
Man.
Oh, so much low-hanging fruit. I just love like his workout routine because he was in the kitchen making his protein drink, and how do you get the protein into the muscles like right away? Schnapps, and he like pulls off this thing,
Schnapps.
dumps a whole liter of schnapps into his protein drink, mixes it up, and just and then takes this big old smoke from a cigar. And I mean,
How he gets away with the cigars also blows my mind.
His new series on Netflix, he's walking around with a cigar lit, and even in like his new documentary, it's a 3-parter. He's all like, "I just smoked the cigars, waiting for someone to tell me that I can't." I mean,
Yeah,
at
I'm
this
not going
point,
there.
I ain't going there with him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just great to see how much he loves life and the fans, and he's very, very ingratiating. I'd love to work with. So if I could interview Schwarzenegger.
Can you imagine how much fun that would be?
Oh my God.
Well, number one, you would never say a word.
No.
Because once he's off, once he's launched, done,
There's.
headed for the stratosphere.
It's like interviewing Kevin Smith. You say 3 words, and 45 minutes later, you're like, oh shit, well it's time to go.
There you are. Exactly.
But yeah, if I could interview Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, that would be because I have to give the Arnold impersonation to him.
Oh, God, he's fabulous.
Do it. So yeah, that. Please, I want to interview Arnold. Come, sit on the stage. We'll
So
talkie,
good.
talkie, muscles, snakes, everything really
Cigars.
wonderful. Oh, cigar. I already have a cigar with me all the time. At all times, I have
My
a cigar,
God.
just in case. Here, take this. So
So
we
funny.
have a question. Are you ready for question? Yeah.
By the guy who
Everyone's like,
runs
great,
the
Smurf.
show."
We came to listen to Carolyn, and you're giving us bad Arnold Schwarzenegger. So let's talk to some people in the audience, shall we? We are going to take the first question from the fan favorite, Brett Leader 1.
Here he comes.
You raised your hand. You got a question, sir. I can see it. Here you go.
It's awesome to have you here this whole weekend.
Well, thank you,
Fantastic,
Brett.
Delightful. I was wondering, when you got the role for TCM2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, had you seen the first one? And then that's the first part. And then what was it like with it being such a departure from the first one and all that underground, running around and all the crazy scenes in that film?
Well, first of all, yes, I
Good
had
question.
seen the first one. I saw it in 1974, Texas OU weekend. Somebody had a bootleg copy, and they were projecting it on a sheet in the backyard where they were throwing their party. So I saw, we
Okay.
walk in, I'm with my boyfriend, who's like fabulous, and we walk in, and at that moment, Pam is being put on the hook. And I just went,
Oh, that's a hell of an entrance.
oh, wow. I never saw a complete script all the way through until I'd been hired. Because I did my audition, and I read my thing. They did hair and makeup tests. you know, they didn't give a fuck if I read it.
Well, they're going to kill you anyway, right? So they figured, like, you know,
And that's the other thing. I didn't know whether I would die or not. So as we go, you get the little cheat sheets. They give you,
the
it's kind of
cliff notes for
tradition.
that day.
Yeah, and so you read it for that day, and you see what's going to happen. And for me, everything was easily manageable until we got to the bucket scene. And the first AD brought me my sides and handed me my panties. So I was wearing a pair of little red panties with black roses on them, because it was going to show. And the shorts are little tiny shorts, as we know. And I went, oh no, is my mom going to see this? And then I thought, oh hell no, she's not going to see this. She's not going to come to a movie like this.
Like, not a chance.
Yeah.
When you were doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, how much of the first one were you worried about or thinking about, or what was going through your mind? Did you ever really worry about the previous one?
I had not seen the first one all the way through. Because, I mean, it's a scary as fuck film, man. It's just so scary. To this day, it scares the heck out of me. Exorcist does the same thing. Omen does the same thing. But now I watch it for Christmas every single year. But at the time, you know, I had no idea the humor was going to be so bent and twisted. All I knew is I was the lead, and I was going to be working hard, and it was going to be very physical, and I had to work with the stunt team. And believe it or not, the stunt team, that was training. That was like training. So
Okay.
I had to put a lot of time into those efforts. But the truth of the matter, every day we got these sides, we got these pieces of script, and it was just so fun. That massive, it was a palace. The underground lair was a palace. Kerry White was our art director, and he had gutted the interior of the Austin American-Statesman press building, meaning where the paper runs through the rollers and it goes all over, and there were offices in there, all that stuff. He gutted the whole thing. He sprayed gunite inside of the whole thing, and then he decorated that whole thing. Every square inch of that place.
So he did it all on his own. He didn't have a team or nothing?
He definitely had a team, but it was his vision.
Wow.
That's an amazing vision.
That's a ballsy vision.
Yeah, and that's why whenever the opportunity arises to do a screening with some of the fans or whatever, I always watch it again all the way through, because I marvel at the incredible people that were a part of the film.
In the back of your mind, were you hoping you made it to the end? Or the final girl?
Well, I knew Marilyn did, but I thought, how is she going to live through all this? I mean, all the stuff going down, the weapons and the scary and the chop top, and oh my God. But then when you see how Leatherface is so kind of, simpy and
Sporadic and
I
inconsistent.
thought, okay. But I'll be honest with you, 2 weeks into the film, they wanted to shoot the end, the chainsaw dance at the end. So 2 weeks in, I knew I lived, but they wanted me to dance at the edge. It's like right there. There's the edge. And it drops 3 floors. And all they had down below was a bunch of cardboard boxes covered with furniture pads. It's not a big, it's not Dar Robinson taking a dive into, a blow-up thing,
Right. Yikes.
And I had never held a running chainsaw in my life. I had no idea what to do. I was scared of it. And so I said to Toby, Toby, I'm not ready. I don't know how to do this dance, and it's a running chainsaw. Scared the shit out of me. And Toby, well, go the fuck home then.
Well, okay.
And so they drove me back to the apartment complex where we were all living at the time. They drove me back, and I called my agent, and I said, I think I'm fired. I've only been working 2 weeks. When you shoot film, once you're committed 2 weeks in, you're pretty committed. They're not really going to fire you. I was only 2 weeks in. And yet, the next morning, they knocked me up. Got to go to work.
Hey, here's your call.
Oh, thank God. I'll do it now. I'll be enthusiastic. I promise.
No problem, Mr. Scorsese. Anyone else have a question? Come on, this room is this big. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. What do you got? What do you got?
So last night we had the pleasure of watching 10 Minutes to Midnight with you, which was awesome. Great
Thank
movie.
you.
And everybody should go check it out. It's really, really good. The character, Amy, is also a radio DJ,
Yeah.
very much in the vein of Stretch, kind of revisiting that, and great like themes all the way through about aging, mortality, all those things. Great movie, loved it. What I was curious about is tongue-in-cheek kind of thing of you playing kind of a evolved version of the previous character. If you had a choice to play any character from literature or anything like that, if you had your, make a wish, you get to pick the character you want to portray, what would you want to do? Who would you want to take a chance at performing against?
Honestly, I don't think it's been written yet. I mean, I would love for somebody to write something. The thing that I loved about 10 Minutes to Midnight is, like you said, it takes on the themes that never crossed Stretch's mind in Chainsaw. She was never going to age. She was never going to, nothing. 10 Minutes to Midnight does deal with death, aging, transition, change, and in ways that are very sad and scary and frequently are imposed by other people. And you realize how little control you do have over your life and your mortality. And playing a character like that keeps you on the edge. And the thing that was great about that director, he was right here next to the lens the whole time. He talked to me through. I didn't want to be giving Carolinisms or Stretch or any of that shit. Because if you're an actor, you've got little default mechanisms, little things that you do.
Little comfort things, your repeat, your muscle memory.
Yes, that's it. And I did not want that to be there. And Eric Bloomquist made sure that that was not there. And he really talked me through it. One of the other things challenges about that movie that I loved that I got is they take the character of Amy back to her beginnings of her radio DJ career. And you see very clearly she is not Stretch. And you see her relationship with Bob, the man that she has a 30-year affair with. And I got to play someone who, while in the movie I play somebody 50, they take me back 30 years to play somebody 2021. And you can't really use makeup and costuming and things, or it's obvious and it doesn't work. So with lighting and camera work, and of course my director's impeccable direction, I got to play somebody in the past, being starting at the beginning. It was one of the greatest moments I've ever had.
Did you, in your mind, as you're doing that, then have like a final destination in your mind as far as how this character is going to progress, being regressed so much?
A part of what made the script so amazing is we take Amy through her very first day on the job, and she got that job by fucking her boss. But she's in love with her boss, and he's not the ugly, scary, horrible guy at the end. He's a young, good-looking, sexy dude at the beginning. And I modulated my voice differently. I pitched it up a little bit higher without sounding obvious, I don't think. I kept all my physical movements, my head movements, my facial movements, very restricted and refined and small. Big eyes, tried to have those big eyes. But when the scene transitions, you go from something romantic and beautiful and wonderful with Bob to, she drops the necklace he's given her as a gift. She drops it. So she goes down on the floor to try to find it. And this wolfish, monstrous, scary Bob comes out, and snap, you're back in the present day. The writing is brilliant. The writing, everything about the movie is really good. It's really good. It's very different from anything you're going to see.
Yes, and that transition, it's jarring. It is disjointing like, holy crap. And just to be shot forward so fast, it's actually very brilliant filmmaking.
Yeah.
Mr. Crozier had a question.
Oh,
You raised your hand.
no,
Oh, you're just sitting.
No, he
my
was just
arm's
sitting-
falling asleep. Smurf, you're boring us.
He was just
exactly it.
he was just lounging.
Yeah, he's just lounging.
I'm lounging, just taking on the presence of Carolyn.
Yes. Did you have a question for Carolyn?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
You're
All right.
talking to a guy
He was already
hasn't
interviewed.
really slept in 17
Well, I mean, none of us have. let's be
Dude,
honest.
neither have I.
Yes. Anyone else have a question for
Hello,
Carolyn?
altitude.
Yes. Anyone else got a question? Yes? Going? All right. That's
Smurfy.
all of the questions from the audience. So it's back to you and I as we close out this wonderful weekend. You are our final girl for this
Oh
year.
my
Colorado Festival
God.
of Horror.
Dude. Seriously.
Seriously.
Amazing.
We close it out, which is nice. And if someone wanted to stalk you on these...
Stalk me?
Yes, on the social media type stuff. Where do they need to go? Where's your Twitter, your I know Facebook, but how do
I
they
have no
follow you?
Facebook. Willie Caroline, WILLICAROLINE for both Twitter and Instagram. Nobody's ever stalked me. I got my first dick pic this morning.
Sorry
There
about
were
that.
actually 2.
My bad. It was supposed to go somewhere else.
I saw the stamps. I thought, is he shipping?
Well, we got to go somewhere sometime.
Sometimes you gotta do
know,
something.
You got to do something. You got to
That's a Nari.
gotta spice it up.
Yeah, I'm knocking wood because I know stories. There are stories out there that are terrible. And thank God, none of that has happened to me.
Well, that's saying something. So, any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to relay to the millions of fans around the world?
I have had the loveliest weekend this weekend because of all of you.
Again, see? Bring it right back to tears.
But it's the truth. Without the fans and without the dedication you show to the genre, I don't have anything. I don't have a career. I'm just one of those actors trying to get some fucking gig instead of having actually a very nice home with all of you.
Oh, thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Everybody,
Thank
that's
you.
the end of this interview. Thank you so much. In the meantime, run fast, laugh hard, and always be kind. Good night.
Woo!